So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Mr. Shankar.
Morning.
Yes, so today is the day of our webinar again. This webinar is conducted by Reveres Academy and Cambodia Chambers of Commerce, and also created with Up Your Game. For today, we will be Mr. Shankar. But before starting our webinar, I can introduce about our social media. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find our next webinar or want to join our webinar for next week, you can find us by this social media. You can see our website, Facebook, YouTube, and Telegram. Today, our speaker is Mr. Shankar, and this is the some profile about him. Mr. Shankar is an ex-ship captain, and the whole thing in this, I think I don't want to read more, but you can see in our webinar link about his profile already. So to start this webinar, Mr. Shankar, you can start and then share your slide and then present it about this today topic. Okay.
Thank you, Kengwa.
I will stop my slide. You can share your slide. Okay. Okay, Shankar, you can share your slide.
Thank you, Kengwa, and it has been a pleasure to be with you all today, this morning, on the 22nd of January, 2021. And so it's a very nice number as well, because 2201 and 21. So, and I hope the new year has been very good for all of you in Cambodia. And I must say that I have had very good time when I visited your beautiful country, and very good memories. And so I would be very happy that I'm given the opportunity to talk to you all, speak to you all, and help you all in whatever you are doing today and in the future. And so without much ado, I will go to my slide. And that is, I'm sure you all can see it now. Can you see my slide screen?
No, I cannot see your slide.
Okay. So, yeah.
Okay, I can see that.
All right. So today's our topic is on towards service excellence. And what do I mean by service excellence is whatever service a person provides, a person, a company, an organization provides, must always work towards excellence in their field of service. Or even if they are producing something which is material, like a t-shirt or whatever that could be, it has to tie in with service excellence. And so it's a very broad term and probably will not do justice if I can, to take only 45 minutes or half an hour to talk about this, but it is very important. And I will try to touch this within the time limit we have today. And I will be very happy if you have any questions and I'm able to answer them. And just to give you a background, my foray into customer service started very when I was 16, and I started as a cadet on a ship, as an officer cadet, just after school. And because a ship is providing a service globally, and that is what has always interested me in providing top-notch service and how we value service, how we value excellence. My last corporate job, I was running 63 countries with 220 offices around the world, and I was their global director of operations. And the service we are providing had to be the same, whether it was in a very advanced country like Japan or US, where we had 28 offices in the US alone, and or it could be in Nigeria or Brazil or any developing country as well. But the service standard had to be the same for our clients. So my job was to organize service excellence around the globe for this company and to monitor it and to see that the people who are delivering the service are doing it the correct way. Now, if you look at this picture here on your screen, it shows an office which is struggling to provide customer service. Why? Because if you see somebody is firefighting with a um, a thing in his hand, somebody is trying to clean up the place, somebody is running here and there. So it is all confused. So nobody is controlling what is required. So if you are a customer and you walked in, like this lady on the right, and you walked into this office and you saw these people, will you give them any business at all? Will you like to do business with this company? So even though it is a very clean office and maybe people who are educated, they are not in control of the situation. So it is very important that when a customer walks into your door, whether it is a shop, a company, organization, or just a small office, they see that you are customer oriented. So that is the environment I'm talking about. What is a welcoming environment? Everybody can play, whether it's the leader, as you see the man with the tie, or an employee like the lady on the left doing the sweeping, or a manager who is doing something even I don't understand in the middle. So when you have an organization like this with different people, different cultures, there is an 80-20 rule that only 80% of the people would provide the right kind of service. There is always an X factor. Why do we go to a particular shop? For example, you go to a shopping center and you want to buy a pair of shoes, and you are not decided whether you will buy a branded shoe like Nike or Adidas, or some shoe which you just want to use for your casual wear to the beach or to the club. So, but then when you see those shops, you will be attracted to one particular shop. And because why? Because when you get there, the person knows about the product, they know about the things that you care about, which is whether the shoe fits you properly. They have a range. The price is something you can live with. And more importantly, the salesperson is helpful. He or she has a smile. They want to give you an opportunity to try different shoe sizes or different types. They will try to understand what you need and then give you a fit. Or would you go to a shop where the person is, aggressive? What do you want? What are you looking for? Doesn't treat you well. So all this is very important. And it's the same thing when somebody calls you on a telephone call, how you answer. So all this forms part of your total customer excellence. So first thing you need to know, who is your customer. There are two broad types of customers. One is your external customer, somebody whom you see coming in and wanting to do something, so business with you. Other is your internal customer. When I say internal customer, to an accounts person, a salesperson is a customer. Why do I say that? Because the salesperson could make a sale, but if he doesn't give his travel bills or claims or tell you tell the accounts person who to bill, what is the correct billing person, billing authority, what is the payment terms. The accounts cannot do its job. Similarly, to the manager, the production is an important internal customer because he needs to know how much they will produce and what he needs to sell. And how does he tell the sales manager how much to sell? Because if you say, I can sell 500 units, but the production can only do 300 units, your customers are not going to be happy. So irrespective of where you are in the organization, whether you are an accountant, you are a salesperson, you are a manager, you are a leader, you have both internal and external customers. And you need to recognize how and what role they play in the organization. Now, service excellence is not something you can just pick up. It has to have certain values. Now, every company is built on values. And you have to understand what your company's values are, what your culture is of the company. If your company says we are going to be a very honest company, we are going to have a very quality driven approach, then those are the fundamental values of your company. And then there is a culture. So there may be a very aggressive culture in some companies which are more caring. And then the employee engagement. How do they engage their own employees? Are they driven to just bring business, or are they looking at it for in the long term, how to grow the company, how to build the company? Then comes customer satisfaction. How do you measure customer satisfaction? Is there a mechanism for that? And then finally, all this will lead to increased shareholder value. Every company or every organization, or even if it's a single person, is a shareholder in something that he or she does. So only if their value increases, the whole company or the organization benefits. Now, because every company is made of individuals, so everyone must feel valued, and they must be liked. First, they must like themselves. That is very important. And everybody is unique. So when you recruit somebody, when somebody joins your organization, you must understand what is it you recruited them for, and what is it how they can benefit your company in the best possible way. What is their performance that you expect? So if you have not communicated that to them in the right way, then they will not understand what they have to do. And so you are getting not the best performance from those people. So the first, as soon as they come in, you have to give them some kind of a guidance, which I will come a little more in detail later on. But you must make them feel that they are very worthwhile to the organization. So you don't take away their self-worth and their self-image. And build, as much as you build their self-image, they will be more worth to the organization. And that goes for an individual. When I go to the office, if I dress up well, if I'm prepared for the day, then my worth increases in the organization and I feel better when I come back. So that's the same principle you must adopt within the organization. One thing I will mention here, in case I'm going too fast, please let me know and I will be happy to slow down. So you need to understand why your customers come to you. Is it because of the product? Is it because of quality? So like I mentioned, Nike, so then, people know Nike shoes, so they come to because of the quality. Is it because of your location? Suppose you are having a restaurant, you're running a restaurant and it is located in a very nice place near a tourist area in Phnom Penh or in Siem Reap. And so people will come there. So people are coming to your restaurant because of its location. And sometimes it could be because of price. So if you go to a market and there are four shops selling very similar things, you sometimes go to a shop because their price is always good for the quality that they provide. Lastly, but not least, you go to shops like I mentioned earlier, mainly because their service is excellent, right? And for you, then the other things, whether you might even go 2, 3 miles or 10 kilometers to a place, to a nice restaurant, because their customer service is better. And you're willing to pay the extra price that it will cost you to go there. And that is why their main focus is to provide good customer service, and they are able to attract customers even though they are not in the best location, they are not charging the best price, they may not have even the best quality. So service excellence is about setting standards. What is your company standard? So you must first listen to your customer. Have first, before that, even you have identified who is your internal and who is your external customer. So find a time to listen to both your internal as well as to your external customers. And no two people are the same. As I mentioned, everybody is unique. So no two people are, even in your office, you will find people are different. So try to understand why they act the way. If you are a manager or a leader, try to understand why they do and behave the way they do. Then if there is any adverse effect or bad effects because of you have put somebody in the wrong place where they don't quite fit, try to reduce it by making sure that they are moved to a place where they maximize their knowledge and skills. Say for example, a person is in the sales team and he is very good at generating leads. Very good. He or she can get a lot of people to come into your shop or to your organization and they want your service or your product, but they are not able to close the deal. And I mean, as you probably have learned in your sales courses, closing the deal is when your money starts to come in. So you can get 100 deals, 100 leads, but if you don't make one deal, it's no use. So that person may not be good at negotiation, which is required at the last stage to close a deal. So then you have to find somebody who can do that job and to assist this person so that all the 100 leads that that person is bringing in can be converted into business. Otherwise, all that effort is lost. So you got to find what is somebody's strength and what is somebody's weakness. And that goes for your external customer. When somebody comes into your shop, if they are in a hurry, then you have to react the same way. If they look that they are in urgent need of something, say suppose you are running a pharmacy and they come there and they look for an urgent medicine because they are not well. If you take 20 minutes, do you think they will come back to that shop? So you got to look at signals, and that is where the communication is important. How do you communicate? It need not be by like I'm doing now by speaking. You by being aware that this is going on and we need to do something about it. So if you are again in the pharmacy example, if you are the boss of the pharmacy and there is a salesperson doing a pharmacist giving medicine, if you are sitting behind and you are watching this, you must step in and help because you have seen a customer who is in a hurry, and you can drop whatever you do, go and help that person so that that person says, yes, this shop, gives me good service. So that is the act part of it. So then once you're acting, you're remedying any situation which is going to happen, which can affect your business. And number seven is you prevented your company from, or the pharmacy, for example, from being told that, oh, that pharmacy is no good. Now that person is more likely to go and say that pharmacy is very good standard, very good customer service. And that is what you want. So whether you are a small shop, large organization, the methodology of setting a standard doesn't change much. All you have to do is to adapt it to your size of the organization. So there is a flow. So all these, by doing well, you can generate significantly better margins, profits, and growth if you follow it properly. So there is an internal service quality, which I mentioned, which happens by talking and getting people on board as soon as they join. Then, so the employee is satisfied. Once an employee is satisfied, they tend to remain with the same employer, because it is not always about how much you pay the salary to an employee. It is also how much he is valued at work. So if he feels more valued in a place, even if they get somebody is paying them 10% extra, they will not shift, because they say, this place, I like to work here. So when you are, not only your employee is satisfied, the productivity increases. So when a productivity increases, when say a telephone operator in your company, or somebody who receives a customer's call, answers with a smile and with a happiness, the customer feels valued. And so the customer feels satisfied. They come back to your organization for repeat, and that leads to revenue growth and profitability. So if you are able to sell only 10 units of a particular machinery part, suddenly you will probably get twice as much from the same customer. So you are, without having to spend more money on sales programs, you already doubled your revenue from the same customer. And that customer will also tell others, please go to this company because they are very good. So you get referrals as well. So all this means that you have to focus on awareness by looking around, and so the customer, once you have that focus and it is built in, you will appreciate and you will plan your activity accordingly. So the only way you can do that is to understand what is your customer's expectation and or make your response accordingly. So what blocks this thing from approach from taking is, people normally don't know about this. So that's okay if they are willing to learn. But what is more dangerous is if you assume that your customer is an idiot, for example. I'm sorry to use the word, but some people think a customer knows nothing. I know everything. And that is arrogance. Because if the customer finds out that you are trying to not play by the rules, not be making, I'm not saying cheating, but if you're trying to make a fool out of him, then he is and if he finds out, then your company or your organization is going to be in trouble. So you got to avoid this. You should not assume that the customer doesn't know anything. So you can only fool a person once. You can't fool them twice. And if you try the third time, the company will be in deep trouble. Customers also change. Not only they change as they age, a 20-year-old customer is different from a 40-year-old or a 60-year-old. their expectations also change. So if you are a tourist destination like in Cambodia, a 20-year-old tourist comes for a different purpose. A 40-year-old comes for a different purpose. A 60-year-old comes for a different purpose. So your service must cater to these people based on what they you think they would like. And if you don't know what they like, you will have to ask, you will have to find, do some research, and you have to tweak. So even if you're selling food, the same three age groups, when they come, you got to serve them in a slightly different way so that they meets their expectation. So if you're it's an old couple, then you'll have to serve them in a little bit more gentle way and explain the food, what it means, how it came about, how it is cooked, and so they enjoy that attention. If it is a young person, maybe they've got other activities, they just want to come eat something and go away and take some photographs, and so you got to cater differently to those two people, two, three different segments. So and they all come with a different expectation. The internal factors, like I mentioned, the people, the politics, the systems, place, time, all these are very important and they all have to come together. When I mean politics, it is not what different parties, and when I say within the office, you'll say, oh, that person is not good, this person is doing this, that person told me this, that person did not do the work. All this you will have to control and manage because it has a huge effect on customer service. So the happy organization should not have any internal politics. And no, the boss should not do anything which is favoring one person or the other person. He has to be very neutral. He or she has to be very neutral when it comes to people. So, like I explained, you have to have a chart like this for your company and say who is my internal customer and how are they dealing with this. So there is a production, there is a packing, there's marketing, and I've got some slides to show you there as well. So suppose this is a design team, they have designed a very nice product, and then there's a production team which does the production, and then it goes to the logistics, which will pack it and ship it. So only when it is shipped, so they can come up with 100 designs, but it's of no use unless it is produced, packed, labeled, and sent across to the customer. And of course, sold properly, marketed properly. So all this must work together. And so the design team must know what is sold, how it can be sold, what should be the sizes that it should be sold, whether it's cans, tins, bottles, packs, whatever it is. So when they design, so that the manufacturing will do it as accordingly. So all this has to flow back and forth. So then a customer's response will come saying that, oh, I like it this way, but I don't like it this way. Then they will have to adapt the rest of the organization. So in the communications part I mentioned, so if you don't communicate properly, it can lead to a lot of issues which will cost a lot of time and energy and frustration to fix. So most of these things, if you can address them at the initial stages, you will be much better off as you go forward. So your focus must be on the loyalty of customers, focus on the values. What is your service? How are you going to differentiate it? What is the market information about your product? So once you combine all this, you will be able to generate higher profits. So when a customer can have a positive or negative reaction to his expectations. So there are broadly three areas. Either they're disappointed, or they say, yeah, it was okay, not too bad. Or they say, wow, this looks extremely good. This is the best I've seen. And you probably have heard that in your organization when they come and, when some of the customers would have said, wow, this is the best I've seen. And that makes everybody happy because they know that they have met the customers and exceeded the customer's expectation. But if it is negative, that can be very harmful. So that is the moment of truth. So this is very important because service excellence can make or break a company. Excellent service, everybody talks about, they remember. Adequate service, yeah, it may be, may not be. But if it is terrible, they will tell everybody that don't go there, don't talk to them, or don't use that company because they are very bad. So your focus should always be on excellent customer service. So whenever a customer is coming to your company, calling, making a physical visit, they have no idea what's going to happen. So you got to be this person who says, I'm going to make them love it. Right? So they come here knowing exactly nothing about how they will feel when they leave. But you have the option to make it extremely good. So if you go to a car shop, for example, what do you look for it? So don't be, you are no different from your customer because you are also a customer to somebody else. So if you are going to buy a car or a motorbike or whatever, you look for what is your impression? What do your friends tell you? How does that look? Is that customers, is the salesperson answering all your questions? Do you have a selection of vehicles? And then can you get financing to purchase the motorbike or the car or scooter, whatever? And if something goes wrong, do they offer or after sales service? So all this forms part of your decision making before you buy. And that could be for a refrigerator or whatever you want to buy, a television set. That it's good money. So when you pay good money, you want to buy the good stuff, so you're not left with something. So the customer service becomes a very important part. So one is perception, one is expectation. Perception is because of what a person reads or hears about. So they suppose, for example, they come to a perception of a particular place is that it is costly. The food is costly, for example. And then they come to the restaurant and they expect the food to be costly, but the food is extremely good. Then they say, I don't mind. Because now your expectation has beaten their perception that it is costly. So there is a way to mitigate or to lessen any perception or to increase the expectation and deliver the service. I will skip this because there is an indirect impact which I have communicated earlier on if you don't do things, how it will impact your external customer. But it is very, very important because it's indirect, it's not readily seen, but every little incident matters. And over a period, it becomes company's culture, and that is something you have to be very, very careful about, that it doesn't impact your company's overall culture. So there is a long-term damage if you don't address these issues quite early on. So it could be late delivery, poor image, wrong documentation, wrong material, no delivery, don't keep promises. These are all, over a period, they will be very, very damaging to the company. So there are three important things that anybody in customer service must know and do is think, talk, and act. So if you answer without thinking, most of the times they're not going to be correct. So if somebody asks a question and you say, can I check back and I will come back to you, and give them a time say, if I say I don't have the answer, I'll say, can I call you back in half an hour? In the meantime, you'll discuss with your colleagues, but please make sure you call them back in half an hour, because if you don't do, your image is going to suffer. So the act part is very, very important. So think, talk, and act. If you think and if you know the answer, talk, and that is your action. But if you don't, you go back. So this is a loop in customer service. So your mental process, as soon as somebody asks a question, your mind should start racing to understand what that question is. How should I answer? Do I know the answer? Should I get somebody else to help? And then you act on it. So success or failure of a company, of an organization, a unit, a product, all depends on these four things. Over a period, if they are very happy, they will always order from you. Then they become dependent on your service or your product. That is the highest level in customer service. The client will not normally leave and you have got a client for a long time. Others, if they are happy, they can come, they will go. If they are satisfied, maybe they will only visit you once or order only once. If they are unsatisfied with their service, they will also tell others and you might lose customers. So this is the hierarchy. You must always try to be at the top one or two. So can a leader motivate? Can a boss motivate? The answer is no. It may be shocking because most bosses tend to be very aggressive in terms of motivation in when it comes to customer service. So it doesn't work that way, because for service excellence you need to have high trust, and you must be able to be willing to catch when people are failing and build them up and say, okay, this is done, but let's move on. And you have to continuously focus on the high values of the organization and not on the short term. And that is very difficult. If a boss has got 200 things to do, he or she may not have the patience, and that is why they are not the best ones to motivate. But a manager can. A manager, if you have a company with 5, 10 managers, every manager, a sales manager, production manager, operations manager, accounts manager, they all have not only a role, they have a responsibility to build a good customer service excellence unit within the organization. And it's a very huge responsibility. So when you have putting somebody in those managers role, please make sure they understand that they are not just doing a manager's role, but their role, essential role, is to bring out their best in their people, and by providing a very good environment. Otherwise, if you don't have that the suitable manager, you will find that even a good employee who may be a production supervisor, for example, or an accounts clerk, they might leave the company. And you lose a good employee because a manager is not doing what they're supposed to do. They don't understand that service excellence internally and externally is very important for the company's success. So you will have to find a way to educate the manager about his role and responsibility. So if you're running the company, if you're the boss of the company, when you put somebody in place in these roles, you got to be sure about that. So all these things will shape whether their person is positive or negative, and that impacts how they deal both internally and externally. So they might, if they are negative, then say, whatever I do, nothing is going to happen. If they are positive, they will say, whatever happens, I will make this work. So these are the two extremes, and you want people who are more positive on your team, so that they can make even if a situation is not very good, they can still find a way to help other people and your customer. So let them not fear or doubt what will happen to me if I do this. How, what, so when the fear and doubt, when it is within an employee, they cannot provide good customer service. So what will the boss think if I say this, if I do this? So you have to give them that encouragement and not fear what they what the consequences of their action will be. So if, for example, if you are running a small hotel and there is a person in the reception, and a tourist walks in and they want a room because they could not find a room, and you have 3 rooms. If the person at the reception is empowered and trusted and say, yeah, you can give a new room to a walk-in provided they have the documents and everything else, if there is a room available and at a reasonable price. But if they price them very high, not only you lose the room that for that night, because an empty room is not going to bring you any revenue, and you also feel, the customer will feel that you are taking them for a ride, which is not good for your hotel. So every situation you got to analyze and say, is that person in the front office empowered? And if they are not empowered, can they reach a manager and get quick approval before the tourist goes to the next hotel? So there are many types of fear, and that is failure. So if I fail, what will happen? If I'm rejected by the customer, what will the, say, suppose a salesperson is submitting an offer and he gets, so he's afraid to put proper proposals because somebody will reject. Or if they're embarrassed or they're not very comfortable with criticism. So all these things, if your boss is not, if you're the boss and you're not happy with something, you got to find a way to express. So service excellence, once people take ownership, then they can even, sleep in a fridge like this guy is doing. And this is a picture I use quite often to show that, because he's so happy with his workplace that he is even willing to sleep inside the refrigerator so that he can provide the service if a customer comes into your shop. So this is probably a small shop, he's selling some fruits and drinks and things like that. But when a person is so committed, then, so people might say, well, he's sleeping in his, when he's working, but he is not, because he maybe is just catching 1 or 2 hours of sleep before he has to get back to work. So he's taking ownership of the shop, though probably is not the owner. So you got to, don't punish, criticize or embarrass, identify the root cause, forgive and move on. So people make mistakes, it's not unusual. So, by the time you do this, disengaged, engaged, almost engaged, and highly engaged, if you plan it properly, they can be an excellent employee for the company, a rock star, what they call. So this is a picture of Cambodia Airlines, Sky and Cambodia Air. And you see people are getting ready. I'll just run through this so you understand how this whole customer service thing happens. So they are getting ready. They're all well trained people they're happy that they are coming in. They're getting ready. Now then they do their work. And if you see this people in this aircraft, they all come from different, so there's a Westerner, there is a black man, there are some other people, Asians. So they have to cater to different people from different cultures, right? So that is the pre-boarding. And this is also service part of their service excellence. So then they have to give them food, and which can be different for different people, and they can have different food requirements, dietary requirements. So they cater for this. Then they come to Phnom Penh, and then there is a good arrival message which says welcome. So they feel happy, right? Then there's this very excellent driver who is waiting with his telephone number, and he says, this is a great driver, and he has been recommended by people, and he has also got photos of all the different sites and places that you can probably visit. So right from the airport, you are feeling happy. You come to Cambodia, say I come to Cambodia with great expectations. So the flight is nice, the service is good, the food is good, I have reached, and then this taxi driver meets me. Then I go to an hotel, and the hotel is again has service excellence as one of its main things. And they welcome me, they know I'm coming, and they show me to my room. And then, I go and see these places that are in the tourist book that I must see. And, all the tourist spots, I go shopping, I visit cultural dance of the Apsaras, and visit the temples, and then enjoy the food as well. So that it's a happy visit. Then, if I was this couple, they are delighted because they have come back to the hotel and now the whole day has been wonderful for them. So this is a delighted customer. And what are they going to go back and tell their friends and family and everybody else, maybe on Facebook, about their experience in Cambodia? That it was excellent. And all because everybody, from the airline to the hotel to the taxi driver, and the tourist spots and the food, and this rickshaw driver, everybody played a little part. So a customer's journey is not one single event, it's a full experience. And that is what, and don't forget, everybody plays a small part. So if they bought a t-shirt like this gentleman is wearing, maybe, that is also part of that. So customers may forget what they said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So if you make them feel good, they will talk good about the company and the service and the product. But if they're not happy, then it's not good. So the customer's emotions are what drives business. So now your question is, where do I start? All this we have heard, where do I start? So you can make a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day plan. You can start right now and you say, have some procedures and be consistent. Everybody must go by the same book, so that everybody must understand. And the procedures need not be, it can just be one sheet of paper. What do we do? Yes, I think there is a question. Please ask your question if I'm not sure. Or let me finish and then you can ask your question. So just to give you an example, I consulted for this company for many years, and since 2012, when they first started, and on customer service and customer excellence. And you probably saw one of the early slides where I showed a group of people. And this is again a group of people. This gentleman is Indian by origin. This lady is from Indonesia. She is from Malaysia. This gent is from China. This girl is from Nepal. So there is a very multinational group here. And they were featured in the local newspaper 4 days ago as one of the fastest growing companies in Singapore. And you see the leader has let everybody else this is the picture from the newspaper. He has left everybody take the credit. And he knows and he is confident that they are taking the company forward. And he's making more money by doing this. And they have established as one of their best in customer service in their industry. So now they don't even have to go and look for business because business is coming to them. And this table is what is there at the entrance of the company. So it's not some meeting room, some boardroom, some boss sitting there. It is a pool table. So when people are happy internally, the customers are also happy. So the key takeaway in this session is, for if you are a company or a person, how do you increase your motivation, or a manager, and how do you decrease your demotivators like fear and doubt and encouraging risk and not punishing people. So let them trust your judgment, give them responsibility, show some care and compassion. Excellence outside, you must understand your customer. Each one is unique. Customize your product and service to individual customer. Communicate what you can do for them, because it's all about them. And then keep track, you adopt and grow. If there are new changes in the way things are done in your product line, in your even food habits, and then build them into your procedures so that your procedures continuously have a quality assurance and a service excellence. When this increases, everything else will increase. You will be smiling, the employees will be smiling, the customers will be smiling, and even the banks will be smiling. So I will leave you with a smile, and thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. So this will be your reward for customer service excellence. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shankar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the sharing. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question, please drop your question in Q&A box, or you can directly chat to the chat box also. So here, Mr. Shankar will be answer your question regarding to our topic today. So we will wait for your question. So please, if you have any question, please put in the Q&A box, please.
There was a gentleman who, or lady, or a gentleman who raised the hand. I couldn't see, so I think it was Wong Saw.
Yeah, if you have question, please write down inside the Q&A box. Okay. Oh, no question.
Oh.
So it's no question.
So is there anything that you want to say about the presentation? Is it something that you would like to see more, or what? If there is anything that any comments, please feel, because you're also my customer. I would like you to go home happy, and that your time here was well spent, and you have learned something, and that is what is more important.
We have one question, Shankar, now. You can see how to retain excellent service by Mr. Ratha. So please answer.
Yes, excellent service can be retained. It is very, it is something that you cannot judge by measure in a short period of time. Your services, when you retain, you got to keep track of you as your customer. How many times are they repeat customers? So if a person has only come once, then how do you create a log for that person? How do you get some information about, suppose you are running, like I mentioned, a pharmacy, right? So that person comes to a pharmacy because it is he or she is living nearby. So when you engage with a customer, ask them, oh, where are you living? Oh, you are here. So how many children you have? Things like that, right? So you know a little bit more about the customer. Then you can say, okay, can you leave your name and number? And this is our number. This is our card. You can call if you need any help because you have some elderly people at home. They need more medicines. quickly. If you need, we will deliver it, for example, right? So that is how you maintain, and then they will tell their neighbor, they will tell somebody else, yeah, this shop was very good, and that is how you retain excellent service. So, and if you are somebody in your organization is providing a good service, please keep track of those employees as well, because they are the ones who are providing the excellent service. You will be able to recognize, because if you have a feedback form from those customers, they will say, yeah, so and so provided excellent service. That's why organizations have, even if you go in some places, you have, please leave a name, or and in a restaurant, for example, you say, yes, so and so provided very good service. And because just like you expect, you also should try and do that for other people. So suppose you went to a restaurant and you had good experience, you must leave a good word about somebody who served you, so that they have a motivation to provide good service, right? So what goes around comes around, they say. So if you do good, people will do good for you, because it will make you happy. When you do that, it makes you happy. If you tell somebody thank you, or you have done a good job, it makes you feel happy. And then that, when you come back to your workplace, you provide a good service. So this is a continuous exercise, right? You come home, you feel happy, right? So you're also providing a service. You're a customer to your house in a way, because if you're happy, they give you a good feel when you come home. So that is, I don't know if it answer your question, but it's a continuous process. It is not, you cannot do one day and not do the next day. It must have a standard, and every day you must say, how do you, yes, how to recover or cure from, yeah, you must you must find the root cause within the organization which gave that customer the bad experience. And somebody, like for example, it happens in the service industry, it is not uncommon. At what level, if for example a company made a mistake, and do you ignore the customer and you say maybe he will forget, or do you call them up and say, well, how do you change it from a negative to a positive experience? So for example, you gave them a wrong product. They asked for a product A and you sent product B by mistake. And so they come back and say, oh, I'm very angry. I asked for product A and you gave me product B, and this is not what I asked for. Mistake. Before it gets any further, you say, sorry, we made a mistake. Sorry is the most difficult word, but a sorry can save you a lot of problems. Sorry, we will fix it. I'm the manager. I'm going to get you product B, not one, two of them. I will send it to you. Now, that person is going to be happy, right? If you are that person, you're going to. So there are many ways to fix this. You will have to find out what is it that happened and how you can fix it. And you have to fix it very, very quickly. The more, it is like a wound. When a customer has a bad experience, it is like a wound. And if you don't treat it, it is going to get worse. And it will pain him more and more and more every day. And you got to fix it very quickly, and fix it from not at a junior level. It has to come from a senior. You would say, I am the manager, my department messed up, I own the responsibility, I will fix it. That is the way to do it. I'll give you an experience. I worked with ExxonMobil, for example, which is one of the world's largest companies, right? There was one error which happened. I was not responsible. It happened somewhere in uh, South Africa or somewhere, right? somebody messed up. I got a call at middle of the night from the US saying that, do you know this thing happened on the ship? Your company is responsible for this. I said, okay, I'm sorry it happened. I didn't even know what had happened. I said, I'm sorry, whatever happened, I'm sorry. But give me 1 hour. I will find out what is wrong and I will come back to you. And he was very upset. This was a very senior manager in Exxon. And our companies, we were getting more than few hundred million business from this company, from one company. So we cannot afford to lose that client, right? So I called my office I called the general manager in South Africa and I said, tell me the exact truth, what happened. If you lie to me tomorrow, you will not have a job. But if you tell me the truth, I will take responsibility. Nothing will happen to you. He told me what happened. I went back to Exxon. I said, even if you conduct a thorough investigation, this is the truth. This is what happened, and we are sorry. You will be surprised, nothing happened. They actually sent a note saying that we are very grateful that you told us the truth, so we can all together work on fixing it. So totally a negative experience can be changed to a very positive experience. We didn't lose the business, in fact, we got more business. So these are all practical experiences from a small level to a very, very large company. So these are scalable solutions. Does that answer your question, sir?
I think so. Maybe you answer his question. Because they have another 2 questions you can see inside the chat box. 2 more questions. I think the question also, maybe the last answer that may be related to this question, but you can double check for the 2 questions, how to recover or cure from bad service experience with existing client to repeat using our service. So this is another question also. Yeah. So you can double check what the question.
If somebody has a specific business area, I can be happy to, because I'm talking more in general terms. If there is a specific business area, then I'll be happy to answer that question. So because this can be adapted to any business. These are just models, and you can tweak and twist. Oh yes, bank sector. Okay, so in banking, your customers can be industries or corporate customers. It can be retail customers. It could be small business customers. So or SMEs, or professional firms. So where your role is and how it ties with your bank's overall practices. So if you are into the mortgage applications, and then retail, sorry. So you are in the retail bank. So when that is the most joyous place you can be in. So if you are in retail bank, you're seeing a lot of people walk in, and they have a variety and normally they are people who can be quite wealthy, but they could also be very modest means. I mean, they're hardworking people who have got very little in the banks, and they're saving a little bit. When a customer comes, please treat them equally, whether they're rich, poor, hard work, daily labor, whatever they are using your bank. Don't forget they have other options. There are 10 different banks, so they do have other options. Don't treat them. And what is a hardworking young person today may become an industrialist tomorrow, and they will remember this. So please treat everybody equally with the same smile, with the same service delivery, because that is what enhances your capability. And so everybody, you will become and more importantly, you must know what the bank's products and services are, which are specifically helping that particular individual. So if a person comes and he is looking for a small loan or a small um, some way to they can grow their money, what are the solutions available within the bank for that person? You must know, so that even if you are not handling it, you say, well, you got so much money here saved. I think you can, if my colleague can help you in growing that money. Or if we have a, say, monthly deposit plan, so you can deposit so much money every month, so you are saving for your future. So give little bit advice to people who need it. People who are, say, well off, they come with a particular way to deal with you. You say you have a different way, and you say, well, you have money for investment, my investment colleague can help you. So there are many ways in making sure that they are also, everybody wants to grow their money, and how you can help in the bank, either by giving them some leverage, by investment, by saving. So all these products you must be very well aware of, and that is what enhances your value. And if there is a bank manager, they will know that you are also doing much more than counting money and giving them back, things like that, which you must do very well, of course.
Okay, you hear me? Okay. So we have another question from Fong Sao. He asking you for the example. Can you give an example of how to link the service excellence to our business area to ensure the customer has an excellent customer experience?
Yeah, that's the same thing on the bank sector, which I explained. So I hope that was a good example, unless it is from a different sector.
So is it the same thing, right? The answer is
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay. So I think no more any question. So really thank you so
Okay.
much, Sasanka, and thank you for all participants to join us today. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find us for our next webinar, or you can find our webinar video by the social media. Please follow our social media like website, Facebook, YouTube, and Telegram, so you can see. In YouTube, you can see our all video from our webinar, and also in Facebook, Telegram, and website, we will have our next webinar in the post. So please scan the QR code to get our next information about webinar. And thank you so much for the sharing today, Mr. Sankar, and hope we can have time together next time. And we have